Okay, so I guess it's time for game 2 of this best of 3 series. Again, taken from the Intel Extreme Masters group stage day 1, the early stages of the tournament. We're gonna have this cool TVP between this blue Terran spawning here on this 3 o'clock position and going by the name of Tarson, member of Team Millennium, Polish Terran, like I already presented on game 1. And well, if you guys didn't knew him, well, I think he already brought a very nice presentation card, an introduction to himself on that game 1. He's probably not one of the biggest Terrans in Europe, or at least one of the ones that get more visibility, but keep an eye on him. He's totally worth it, and he is a very, very solid Terran. He's going to be facing once more against this red Protoss spawning here on this 12 o'clock position, going by the name of EGHuK on the tag, but as you guys know, he's now EGHuK, a member of Team Evil Geniuses. One of the finest Protosses from the foreign scene, I have no questions about that, and also one of the few foreigners that was able to clinch a spot on Code S and do well on the GSL, on that very competitive Korean pro gaming scene. He's just basically at the moment the only foreigner on Code S, and one of the few foreigners that was actually able to stabilize his game there and play on par with the top Korean pros. So well-deserved Code S spot for HuK, and congrats for him to have all of this quality gaming brought to us and able to bring it to the Korean pros as well, because as you guys know, it's the place to be if you want to be on top of your game on Starcraft 2. Now, let me take a look at what the players are doing, and they're just starting their openings. I would like to just make a short mention to what happened on game 1. As you guys know, we did have Tarson winning 1-0, impressive result in my modest opinion. I was actually a bit surprised. I was hoping for HuK to be able to overcome the difficulties that Tarson might put on him, but Tarson was able to take the best out of HuK, and a very impressive battle, especially that final one with a lot of multi-pronged attacks. I have a lot of trouble to follow all of that on pip windows and so on. But still, Tarson just showing that he's a quality gamer, and he has exactly what was required to defeat HuK on that first game, with a lot of multi-pronged attacks, showing that Tarson is able of getting his micro and macro all rolling at the same time, and several multi-pronged attacks being managed, and HuK basically didn't have enough, just his army wasn't solid enough to withstand that amount of pressure. So we do have Tarson winning 1-0, and being a best of 3, I guess it's time for the HuK to do something about it, because if he loses this game, it's bye-bye series, it's over. Now, taking a look here, as you can see, just finishing his assimilator, second one down, and instantly chrono boosting a Stalker out of that gateway. So again, avoiding putting out any zealots on the early stages of the game, going straight for that Stalker, and probably try to shoot down with the ranged blasts this SEV and take out any unit that might be used by Tarson to scout HuK's base. Meanwhile, on Tarson's side, seems like he's gonna do something very similar to what he did on game 1. 1 Rax into fast expand, but this time, as you can see here, no signs of attachment yet. On game 1 he went for that fast tech lab that provided him with some Marauders and the Reaper to start annoying HuK, and now we're going to see more barracks getting blended apparently. So Tarson seems to be going a fairly identical way. Gasless expansion, keep that in mind, I haven't noticed that, just noticed it. That's another difference from game 1, but still trying to fast expand out of 1 single Rax, getting some Marines out. We do have a small skirmish going on this area here, on this big, long, wide area that gives access to the natural expo of Tarson, with the Marines finally having that bunker finished, so they're going to be able to jump into the bunker and get a bit more armor and resistance to any aggression that HuK might throw his way. And meanwhile, this SCV was attempting to take even more information. He was able to spot this Nexus, by the way, with the Sentry finishing it off, and the forces from HuK just thwarting any sort of scouting that Tarson might be throwing his way with that SCV play. But at the same time, we do have Tarson just trying to mess up his forces. Not much of a mineral line for now, and seems like that both players are quite committed to their recon game. Doesn't seem like we're going to have any sort of big aggression ensuing on the early stages of the game, though this Stalker keeps poking and prodding here on this area. Already showed up here several times, trying to shoot down this time the second bunker that is getting built by Tarson. And at the same time, as we can see, proxy pylon being landed here with the warp gate tech just finished, so we might be seeing some sort of pressure coming out of HuK here. SCV arriving inside the base once more, spotting that 3 gateways, but this time we did notice that HuK expanded out of a single gateway, so also another risky maneuver, but a calculated risk. As you might imagine, on both sides on this specific match, they were evaluating their opponents and be able to check everything going on, so they knew that they wouldn't be able to put out any sort of menacing force that could just end the game really early. There goes another SCV. Tarson keeps losing them, but taking all the information he wants from the main base of IEHuK. Whoa, a lot of workers being transferred. So we're going to have IEHuK working out of 2 bases soon enough. For now, as you can see, Tarson is boosting ahead, but this is going to change fairly soon with IEHuK finally getting his probes here on the mineral line, and we're going to start seeing that income going to rise really quickly. Worker count still fairly similar, and again we do have this kind of siege position for IEHuK. He's just basically containing his opponent, stopping him for progressing his game anywhere else outside of his natural expo, though there's still to take under consideration the fact that he can go for those rocks and start destroying them and go for his third there. Again, another assault with force fields getting landed down. Try to get some of those marines pinned in front of the force fields and shoot them down. He actually picked up like 3 or 4, but it's not even close to enough to be able to just enter and break the place in. Let me take a look inside IEHuK's base again, but with IEHuK always here, I want to take a look at what's going to happen here. If he does any sort of magic trick, awesome maneuver that will enable him to just get in here and start destroying those mineral lines. Now, on IEHuK side, we do have more buildings getting produced here. Robotics Bay, 3 gateways, now more gateways coming out. 5 gateways. Will he be going for 6 gateway again? Yeah, seems to be the case. So this build by IEHuK has been fairly similar to what he did on game 1. If you guys recall, he did exactly this, but then he evolved after all of this gateways, the 6 gateways and the robotics facility. He evolved into a forge and a Twilight Council, if I'm not mistaken. Seems like that's going to be the way for IEHuK once more. He's stabilizing his 2 base play. His economy, I'm pretty sure, is now much more balanced. There we go. 3 more workers as well. While on Tarson's side, he's getting a lot of racks, 4 racks, plenty of tech labs working on all of the upgrades at the same time. I wonder if Tarson is considering any sort of timed push in the moment he has all the 3 ready to roll. 1 reactor barracks as well to put out some marines, plenty of marauders there, look at that, and nothing else going on. Ooh, there it is, Ghost Academy on the Natural Expo, so this is going to be an awesome build. So M&M, Marines and Marauders, backed up by some Ghosts, with plenty of upgrades rolling, and I wonder when he's going to be planning to push out, because to me it seems like on the next couple of minutes or so we might be seeing Tarson coming out with some Ghosts and all of the upgrades, stim, shields and the concussive shells to help him out, try to just destroy the opposition from IEHuK and end this game really soon. IEHuK just taking notes on everything going on with his observer, as you can see, even spotting this factory that is now getting built after that 4 racks opening, and there it is, a big blue blob advancing here to the middle of the map. With that Stalker spotting it, it was gaining control over that Salnago watchtower and providing visibility to IEHuK, and seems like they're going to start going up north, and we're going to have some massive battle ensuing here. Meanwhile, on the back of the base, Templar Archives and Twilight Council, and there's the Fort Show, fairly identical build, almost carbon copy from what he did on game 1, with the forces now from Tarson advancing here, and you're gonna have a massive battle ensuing. Force field play, nice EMPs by those Ghosts, taking all the shields from the units, but there's so many Marines and Marauders on the back of those force fields doing nothing whatsoever. Beautiful force field play by IEHuK, delaying the approach of those units, taking them off range, and like this, look at this, just IEHuK completely dismantling this aggression by Tarson. There's nothing remaining besides these 3 Marauders, and look at the amount of Stalkers that IEHuK still got on his forces. Impressive force field play, providing him with the capability of having so many units from the Tarson's army out of reach, out of range, and not being able to do anything, while he was just basically routing the army from Tarson, the few that was able to pass on to the front of the force fields, and slowly picking them off one by one. So respect for IEHuK for that, very well played. And Tarson now will have to prepare his plan B. I'm not sure if he's going to try to mess up another army and try to push once more, or if he's going to transition into something else. For now, again, he's trying to get some detection rolling, always afraid of those DTs, and also a way of spotting any observers that might be close by, and from what I can see, there's one here. And preparing to expand to his 3rd base, command center getting landed, while on IEHuK side, he's already rolling for his 3rd nexus, his 3rd base. And let me take a look inside the base here. We already have the factory with the reactor. They made the switch with the starport pumping out Medivac, so M&M with Ghosts, I would say. So very similar to what he did on game 1 as well. And let me take a look here on the top of his base. We do have the engineering bay working on the upgrades. And what else here? Well, nothing else for now. Still plenty going on Tarson's side. Oh, poor SEV is gonna get sliced to death. There it is, stabbed to death by those stalkers. Apparently we're gonna have the same sort of transition that IGHuK tried to do on game 1, with that charge getting rolled, and plenty of stalkers, zealots, I'm sorry, being produced, and also already the armor level 1 getting researched as well. So we're going to have quite a big investment on zealots, and they're just going to be using them as a major buffer to protect all of the units that will stay on the second line on an assault group that IGHuK might be planning to prepare soon enough. Meanwhile, what is this here? Ooh, we're going to have 2 medivacs loaded with units. Will he be preparing some sort of drop, maybe here on the main base? I do see that IGHuK has a fairly studied army. 20 difference there on the supply, as you can see, 127 against 147. And though IGHuK is already working out of 3 bases, very impressive, still the economy is quite balanced, with apparently this command center going straight for the rich mineral field, and this will provide a Tarson with a major boost. He has lots of workers as well, more than enough to just get these 3 worker lines rolling on his 3 bases, and just have a very healthy economy. 57 against 73. The economy, as you can see, we do have IGHuK just boosting a little bit ahead, but this is going to change fairly soon. And meanwhile, IGHuK is just working on all of his upgrades, chrono boosting now, ground armor level 2, also working as well on his blink for his stalkers. So doesn't seem like we're gonna have a very heavy zealot force. He might be wanting that charge, obviously, to be able to face against a very marauder heavy army, which seems to be the case. As you can see, 50-50 there, 20 marines, 20 marauders with 3 ghosts, and like that with the charge, the concussive shells won't be able to provide the same effect as I'm pretty sure Tarson would desire. But seems like that Tarson is gonna advance once more. So many HP bars, my god. I'm gonna have to take them off for a little bit, I'm sorry, but when you have this amount of medivacs right on top of it, it's really messy. Just let me select here the marauders to provide a bit of insight into what's going on damage wise. And I do see, there it is, IGHuK just moving his forces. IGHuK actually has a very well mixed army as well. 24 zealots, 16 stalkers. He's still heavy on the zealot count, but has some stalkers to back it up to provide that cool DPS. And at the same time we do have 2 medivacs preparing to advance here. Seems like that he's just shooting down some observers. And will we be having any sort of skirmish here on the middle of the map? I want to follow those 2 medivacs, but seems like that Tarson might be planning to advance at the same time. Oh no, this one is gonna get intercepted. There it is, nice shot. Now a single medivac left, and I don't think like Tarson will be planning to drop once more. I think his drop was planned for that 2 medivacs loaded with units. Only a single medivac probably won't provide the same result he desired. And meanwhile, a massive confrontation ensues here in the middle of the map. Feedbacks with EMPs and Psy Storms rolling back and forth, and all of the units from IGHuK trying to gain a strategical position closer to this Xel'Naga watchtower. No one controlling it at the moment, but Tarson has a very menacing force here. Again, look at the supply, very similar, with IGHuK apparently deciding to push. He's gonna advance with this big stalker force. Where's the zealots? The zealots were supposed to be on the front, taking the blunt, taking those first shots, that massive damage from the first shots. Beautiful feedback once more, with the High Templars doing their work and forcing all the bio units from Tarson to pull back. And here they come once more. We're gonna have a battle ensuing here. Psy Storms on top of those bio units, stopping them from advancing, pushing them towards their own base, and taking the terrain control from Tarson's hands. As you can see, we do have now IGHuK in the middle of the map, controlling the Xel'Naga watchtower. Also, even Archon's here. Does he have any observers around? Yes, he does. He has 1 there, so he's going to be able to keep some notes even if he loses control over the Xel'Naga watchtower. With Tarson advancing to his 4th base, so he's not going to stop his macro gaming. He's probably going to still be thriving on his economy. Yes, he is. Though IGHuK is not that behind. There's still a bit of a gap there, and a big difference on the worker count, mind. Let me take a look at what Tarson is going for next. Plenty of upgrades, level 3, level 2, extended thermal lens, so a sign that IGHuK might be desiring to get some Colossus mixed on his unit composition. And meanwhile, we're going to have again a battle preparing to rage here in the middle of the map. Single Marauder trying to advance, and here he comes. Archons and Zealots getting ready. My god, so many HP bars. What a mess. Both players getting really close to maxed out, and well, as you can see, Tarson is already 200, while we see the bulk of the forces from HuK climbing all the way up north. Let me take a look inside the base once more. Armory, double engineering base working on the upgrades, loads of barracks, so many barracks inside his main base, and seems like we're gonna have some sort of confrontation ensuing here. I'm just waiting, trying not to miss it, but they keep going and trading places, as you can see. Seems like that Tarson might be planning to advance. Oh, huge feedback play there with huge EMPs going on, and also some Psystorms getting ready with more EMPs landing down on those Stalkers, and massive battle ensuing with the forces from Tarson just being surrounded by HuK, but beautiful defense. Notice all the cloaked ghosts trying to EMP as many of these units as possible, and apparently Tarson was able to dominate on this fight, focusing the fire now on the Nexus from HuK and advancing towards the main base. This is getting really dangerous. There's plenty of Archons getting built there, as you guys can see, on the ramp that gives access to the main base from HuK, but doesn't seem like HuK has enough to defend against this. Notice that Tarson is still 200, while HuK went all the way down to 119 now. There's so many forces here. Some Stalkers showing up from the back, trying to intercept the forces that are falling behind from Tarson, but there's not enough here. Let's take a look at the units once more. 26 Marines, 27 Marauders, 2 Vikings as well, and 5 Ghosts against 11 Archons, no, I'm sorry, 2 Archons, 11 Zealots, and 3 Colossus with 14 Stalkers. This is not even close to enough, and seems like that Tarson is just dominating over this game, taking the edge there on the supply, as you can see, by being completely maxed out, while HuK is trying to rebuild his army and hoping to stand a chance of resisting the Tarson's aggression on this matchup, or else, well, this series is going to be bye-bye for him 2-0. So I'm sure that HuK is committed to get this sorted, to bring his army once more. Another feedback going on that Medivac, but Medivac still surviving with only 3 HP, still rolling, and now we're going to have the forces from Tarson positioning again here on the middle of the map, focusing the fire on that proxy pylon, and now there it is, all of the forces confronting once more here in the middle of the map, charge logs rolling, all of those Stalkers trying to provide DPS to back up the Zealots, and the Colossus were grinding down the front line, but not even close. Look at how brutal this offensive was by Tarson. Impressive reaction by him. As you can see on the upgrades, 3-2 here in the end of the game against 2-1, so HuK was falling behind on the upgrade game, and that showed on every battle. What else did he have here? 2 Robots providing Colossus and Observers. Plenty of gateways there. He had those 6 gateways rolling. This base was completely nuked and melted away. And seems like that HuK 6-7 maybe didn't have that many gateways. 7 gateways, am I right, or am I missing something? I think he was working out of 4 bases with 7 gateways, and might not be enough to replenish his army as fast as he could. Also, Tarson was banking on a lot of resources. He was just on a brilliant position, dominating all of this, and there was no chance for HuK. Impressive display of capability of macro decision making by Tarson, and just showing the strength of the bio forces from the Terran player. What can I say? Just a bit surprised that Tarson was able to have this clear-cut win, 2-0 on the series, but it's the way things are, and I guess that Terran players can take some lessons out of this game, and also the Protoss players, of course. It's done. I hope you guys enjoyed this series. See you all later. Have fun.